Shalom. In this week's A Little Something for Shabbat, I wanted to share with you a message that we gleaned from this week's Torah portion about striving toward wholeness. But before we get there, a story. Last Shabbat, I had the great merit of celebrating Shabbat at Camp Ramah Darom, the incredible, tremendous project of Jewish camping that uplifts all of us in our movement and among the Jewish people. Well, each week at camp, rabbis are assigned to a certain age group to help out with the prayers and be available if the staff have any questions. The goal is to promote peer-led prayer experiences, but sometimes the kindlech need a little help. Well, the Torah was taken out. We had the processional. Torah was laid on the Torah table. And what happens next was very interesting. A colleague of mine who had prepared the first Torah reading opened up the scroll and just a cursory check to make sure that the scroll is in the right place before he started to read. But what did he find? A letter was not written correctly. The word daber, El Bnei Yisrael, was written as raber. Like the daled looked like a resh. It was pasul. Rendered pasul. You cannot read from a Torah if even one little letter is written improperly. Well, what did he do? He looked at it from above. He looked at it from below. He looked at it from side to side, and sure enough, he realized this is pasul and not possible to read from. So he put the cover back on it, and then he took the binder bound outside of the cover and then put it back in the ark. And he said, "Friends, we love this Torah. It's a beautiful Torah. We just can't read from it today. Torah, we love you. We just can't read from you until we fix you." So all of the students stood up as we lifted the Torah again, put it back into the ark with the binder on the outside that designates that this, in fact, is a Torah that we cannot read from until it's fixed. What a great lesson for all the people assembled there, for the students and the counselors to see. This is the love that we show to our tradition. This is the love that we show to our Torah, that we don't just pretend it isn't there, that we don't just fix it on the spot. We can't because it's Shabbos, but we designate that we looked into it. We tried to do what we could in the moment, and we realized, no, this pasul, Torah, cannot be read from right now. And it was put away. So there are many beautiful lessons that we can learn from this story. Number one, the importance of deliberation and inspection, of measured action, and of taking swift action when necessary. The importance of devoting that love and careful attention to the Torah and recognizing that we couldn't fix it in the moment, but we could fix it later, was an important life lesson for all of us. The story demonstrates also the power of Jewish tradition, that even if one single letter is not written correctly, or if it's missing, the Torah is rendered pasul, unfit to read from, not kosher for the moment until it's fixed. Well, that brings us to the opening paragraph of this week's Torah portion, Parshat Pinchas. Now, by design, not by error, one letter of the word shalom in the phrase brit shalom is broken. It's called a vav ketera. It's a cut vav. It has a slice right through it. There's a disruption in form and function. What is this vav that's broken, and what can we derive from it? Well, in this week's Torah portion, the grandson of Aaron, his name is Pinchas, this is in last week's Torah portion, Pinchas takes matters into his own hands when he sees two people publicly desecrating the sanctity of the holy sanctuary. He acts with zealousness, we say zrizut, and kina is the word that's used, but also with violence in cutting these two down. After which, there's a break in the narrative. Last week's Torah portion ends, and we begin this week's Torah portion. So we wait. We wait for the judge and we wait for the jury to see how this violent act of Pinchas will be handled. We find out in the beginning of this week's Torah portion that Pinchas is offered a brit shalom, a covenant of peace, for him and his descendants. But the peace, that shalom, the word as it's written, it's cut. It has the cut vav, a broken peace, a broken vav that will be carried down through the generations. Now, our tradition overflows with explanations for this broken vav. Right? Anything from it's a protection of vengeance, or the brit shalom. What is this brit shalom? It's a protection against vengeance. It's maybe a balm for his own soul when people commit violence or get really stirred up, right? They need something to help them to settle down and to be a protection from within. I would like to throw one more idea into the mix, that us Jews are used to carrying around broken pieces. It's what we do. When Moses broke the stone tablets, he didn't throw them away. He didn't cast them aside. When he saw the sin of the golden calf, had the luchot in his hands, threw them on the floor. They were smashed, broken everywhere. But they didn't go into the garbage. What do? We carried those stones around with us. Moses went up the mountain and got new stones, right? A new set of law that we also carried around and we continue to carry around in our tradition today. But along with the set of stones that are intact, we carry around the broken pieces. Why? Well, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav teaches there's nothing as whole as a broken heart. The brokenness lets the light shine through. Brokenness allows for more compassion, self-realization, and penetration of life's wisdom. Now, the broken vav then is what? Maybe it's a reminder of a broken peace, a broken shalom that we all carry around with us. At the same time, it's an invitation to create a new wholeness of peace, a radical shalom, a radical peace of love and compassion, the kind of shalom that has no room for desecration or for vengeance, a whole new shalom where we can truly walk into wholeness as shlemut, whole individuals, as a community, whole communities, as families, as whole families, and as humanity, a humanity that encompasses a whole. When the vav is broken, it signifies that the word and is broken. So an interesting idea that the story of Pinchas and the broken vav doesn't end there. The Torah portion goes on to enumerate a census of the people. There's continuity of peoplehood. The Torah then goes on to explain that Moses will have a successor. His name is Joshua. So we have continuity of leadership. The Torah then goes on to explain the story of Benot Tzlofchad, who are the daughters who are asking for inheritance. So we see that laws go on, halacha and halicha. There's a dynamism in our tradition that operates on brokenness. But at the same time, that vav, invites us into a new kind of whole. We carry with us broken pieces, but the broken pieces are also an invitation to create new wholenesses. My blessing for us is that we strive to repair brokenness in our lives, wherever we find it. But we also are invited to look at any kind of piece that is broken. Sometimes it needs to be set aside, and we're invited to see what's around us. What can I create anew? What can I start afresh? What kind of wholeness of peace, of loving kindness, of inclusivity can I create in my world today? May we be blessed to realize that there's a place for broken peace, but wherever we see broken peace, or shalom, broken shalom, it's also an invitation to create whole peace, new kinds of peace, new kinds of shalom and shlemut. May we be blessed with a Shabbat shalom, a peaceful day, a peaceful week, a peaceful life of wholeness, love, and well-being. And let us say amen.